Hi everyone, this is Ivo here, creator of Slicknode, and today I recorded a live coding session with you where I take an idea all the way to production using Slicknode in as little time as possible. I had like a few challenges that I wanted to put in this video. So for one, I wanted to do it on an idea where I had no idea before what it was gonna look like and what we were actually building. And I wanted to show the whole process, what it looks like to take an idea to production using Slicknode. So last week, I met someone through the Austin Capital Factory co-working space who was working on an idea that he wanted to build with Slicknode. So I asked him to join me on a video call where he basically briefs me, and as he's briefing me, I live code this with Slicknode. And in this process, we're building a production-ready GraphQL backend from scratch with literally nothing on to a production-ready backend with all the functionality that he needs for his project in even under an hour in the process that usually takes days or weeks to realize. So enjoy, take a look, and if you like this, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. Make sure to enable notifications so you always get videos when I publish something new, and take a look. As here today, we want to build a platform, right? And I got John here. He has a client that wants to build an Airbnb platform, or maybe you tell me in a few words like what we're going to build here and what you plan.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thanks, Ivo, for having me. Thank you for even listening to my idea, Someone with your expertise, I really value that. And I'm sure anyone listening already knows what you can do. So basically, Ivo, I talked to you in the beginning because I just wanted to know more about your platform. And you reached out to me, right, on Capital Factory, on Union Capital Factory, and you were like, hey, I kind of like your idea. I want to hear more. And I started understanding that you have developed this whole basically tool for automating a backend and automating the way to create data models in that backend. And I'm probably butchering that, right? You probably have a way better pitch than that, but
well, it's pretty accurate. Like I just built this platform to make developing software a lot easier and so much faster than what you usually do. So yeah, I'm excited to hear your idea, and then we can see maybe we can take this idea and put it right into a production ready backend, and we see how this goes. So this is the first time I'm doing this, so we'll see how it works out. Yeah, maybe tell me a little bit what is the product that you want to build?
Yeah, sure. So what we're working on today is this idea that a client proposed to me, and it was a platform where someone can go in and basically sell not only all the furniture in an Airbnb, but also provide services and consumables inside the Airbnb. However, we need a way for tracking those consumables and for actually providing that that ability to purchase using some integrations with third parties like Stripe or something, but then being able to basically keep track of it through this backend.
Okay, so basically a system where you offer your Airbnb, like a property or a house or a flat or whatever you're renting out. And then you also want to sell other services and products on top, right? Like an eCommerce solution combined with Airbnb booking. Did I get that right?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Okay, yeah, so let's start building this here. I'm going to start from scratch, right? So I haven't prepared anything. And let's see how long it takes us to build this out, the backend part of it. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Okay, so first I'm going to initialize a new Slicknode project. What do we call this?
Real estate plat.
Real estate plat. Right. So now it's going to initialize a new project here. I'm going to open this up in my code editor. And here we go. We have an empty Slicknode project. And now we have to decide how we structure it, right? So we create different modules. And I think most of the things, since it's a fairly small product, we can put it into one module, right? We call it the real estate module. right? So this is first the module that we create. So we have Slicknode module create real estate. So now it's going to create a module here, give it a namespace. So we call it real estate. Also, this is what's going to be called in the admin interface. And now we have our empty module here. And now let's see what kind of built-in modules we need. So it says Slicknode module. Do you need like content management functionality to like describe things of, like?
Yeah,
do we need
so
this?
that would be ideal. Yeah,
okay.
For the property, it needs like to be able to add like highlights, description of the property.
Okay, then we add the content module. You probably also need images, right? So we add the image module. What else? I think that's probably enough for now, and then we can add them as we go. So now we add those modules. Now we have like content module, image module. This is done. And now we have our real estate module and we can start modeling our data. So I'm just going to remove this here. Those are just examples. And let me move this here all the way a little bit. And now let's model our data. So probably first we have like a property that we want to create, like the house or the flat, or so then you can also like use it for multiple properties, right? So yeah, I'm going to use like the Slicknode extension. Then we create a property. It has an ID, and then what attributes does it have? Maybe like a name, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's required? What else do we need?
Highlights.
What are highlights?
So a highlight would be like maybe this place has a pool, or maybe it has like a nice balcony. You know, things that when someone's initializing this property in the platform, they could be like, okay, well, these are the highlights of it, you know?
So okay, so they're basically like the features, like it has a pool, it has like a dishwasher and so forth. Okay, then I would put that in a different type. I mean, what you could do, you could just do like a list of like text. That would be like a real simple solution. We could do that. But then you can't easily filter, right? So you could, kind of need like, if you have like multiple properties, you would have like one property has a pool, another property has also a pool, and then you might want to be able to filter them. So like, give me all the properties that have a pool, right? So then maybe let's call that real estate like a feature, right? So we can say like here, we have a feature. It also has a name probably. And then maybe what you can also do, like add a slug, which would be like the URL string that you can use then in your front end. So you have like a landing page for like all the properties with pool, right? And this would be unique then. And we can add the same here for our property, right? So that way we can create multiple features. Do we want to add like some descriptions for this maybe?
Yes, please.
And then let's say here, this is, we want to be able to add like some rich text, like with lists and text, etc. So we just add, set this to Markdown. So that way you can like create some more descriptions here. Maybe also like an image, like a photo for pool, right? They can add like for each feature, you can add an image and then display that in the front end, right? Okay, so I'm going to save this. And so now we have to have a relation between the property and the feature. So we can decide like, oh, this property is going to have this feature and so forth. So we need like the intermediate type here. And I'm going to call this property feature. And then we're just going to create the relation between this. So here we have the property. That would be the real estate property. And then the feature. Real estate feature. So that way we have our end-to-end relationship. Like one property can have multiple features and one feature can be a part of multiple properties. And then we want to be sure that only that you can only create this relation once for each type. So, you don't want to be able to accidentally add like the pool 2 times or 5 times, right? So here we can put in we can put an index on this. Select fields, property, and feature. And then we say this is unique. So that way there can only be ever one property feature which has the same property and feature. So now we have our end-to-end relation, and we can add like fields here, but we can do it afterwards. Let's just go through the whole data model, and then we can do the inverse relations and add them here to the property and the feature. So now let's just test if we did everything right. So let's just deploy this, Slicknode deploy. Now it's deploying that to the cloud. So we call this real estate, what was it? Real estate platform.
And now it's magic.
Yeah, so now it's creating this GraphQL backend in the Slicknode cloud, and it's waiting for the API to launch. And yeah, when you first initialize it, it always takes a few moments, but should be done any moment now.
So impressive, Ivo.
Well, thank you. Okay, so now we have our GraphQL backend that is ready for action. Let's open this up in the console. Just type Slicknode console. You can also go to slicknode.com, log in with your credentials. And let's open this up here. And now we have our real estate backend here with the admin interface, right? So now we can go in here and we can create our properties. Right, so like add a property. What's the property called?
For example, North Lamar Flat.
North Lamar Flat, and we add like a URL, right? And then, oh yeah, this is hiding. And then we have our North Lamar Flat, right? Then we can add a feature. I say like this one has a dishwasher. All right, well, we leave we have a rich text editor here. Save this. And then we have our features here. And we can have add our property feature and select here, the North Lamar Flat has a dishwasher, right? Okay, so now our this is like the base structure, and now now we can iterate on that, right? Okay, so now I go back to VS Code here, and we can iterate on that, like just make changes and extend the data model. Right, so we have properties, features, and we have that relation. And what else do we need?
Okay, so now that we have the features of the property, we can fully describe it, right? And we have the connection between them. I feel like we can extend the real estate feature and have it as, for example, the services and amenities. They might be able to be extended as a real estate feature. What do you think? Because all that I would need added to it would be a time duration, like a number for a time duration, a list of times available, and a cost. Everything else is already included here.
Okay, so you want to add like a service and product kind of thing, or?
So this would be more specifically for the reservable services and amenities. So it would be like maybe you want to use the isolation tank. You'd be able to reserve it for a certain amount of time, and it would cost this much. And it would be inherent to a certain property.
Okay, but this is then different. I think we need a different type for this, because like a dishwasher, for example, does not have like the properties of like a service, like a price, right? Sure. So I think I would do it then, like just create a different type here for the service. So we'd have the service here, and we also give that a name. We also slug for search engines. This is unique. And then and you said like the service has a price?
Yes.
Okay, it has a price. We'd make this a decimal. Also required. Maybe description?
Yes.
also like rich text here. We use Markdown here. Anything else?
Yes, we would need to know when it's available. So times available. I'm not sure if that would be something that would be inherent, or if there's some other way that you think that might be better. But it would need to have a times available and a duration. Oh, man, this guy's a wizard.
I would create like service availability. Is that with an A or an I? Availability, like this?
Yes.
Okay, and then I would create a link to this here, to the service. And we select here the real estate service as that, and then say like start, date time, end, date time. So that way you can say like, oh, here from January 1st to January 20th, it would be available. And then you can create like any number of blocks for that service.
And okay, so then I would be able to like kind of chop it up, and then like someone can reserve a time block for it, for example.
Yeah, I would then create another type for the bookings, right? So you have the availability and then the bookings, and then you can match that, right? And then the bookings, you can link them to user or client or whatever, right? So here we could do like we have the service, and then if you want to create a relation for like all the availabilities, let me create a relation here, availabilities. So like real estate service availability, that would be an array because it could be any number required. And then we create that relation. And we define the path along which to join this. This is the way how relationships are built in Slicknode. So you can say like here, we want to have like all the availabilities for that particular service. So then we would say here, real estate service would be equal to service dot of this type. So this field here would be joined on the ID of the real estate service, right? So we define the path, like how the relationships should be resolved. And now let's see if we messed anything up. Say Slicknode deploy. And then we say here, deploy those. All right, so now we go back to our backend here to refresh. And now we have our service and service availability, right? So we can add our service here. I think we should probably create a relation here to that property, like where that particular service is available, right? So we would do a service. This service belongs to the property, real estate property. And then we can also here on that property get the services. Real estate service. And then we build the relation here. So like the path is real estate property equals to property dot, what was the name? Real estate service. So that way we can query then, so like here, give me the property North Lamar flat, and then give me a list of all the services that are available. And then you can also query for the availability, right? So here we say Slicknode deploy. Let's deploy this. Okay, so now what we can do, let's refresh this. Now we can add our service here. So like property North Lamar flat. What should be available there?
Jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi. Okay, jacuzzi. And select here Nice jacuzzi. Price is gonna be
$5.
$5.
Yeah, you want to go in the jacuzzi, you got to pay $5.
Okay, we save this, and now we have a jacuzzi on North Lamar Flat, and then we can say like, oh, when is this going to be available? Select the service, jacuzzi. It's going to start, let's say, this weekend here, 20th to the 22nd. Right? Save this. And now I have the availability. And now in the front end, like when you build your front end application, you can just use the GraphQL API. Let's say we go here. It's like list property. It's like here, I want to get, it's like here, just give me the first one. It's like, I want to get a list of all the properties, then the services that are available, the name, the price, and then what the availabilities. Let's see, we might have to limit this to like not hit the query complexity. So here, start in. There we go. And then you get a JSON response, like the North Lamar Flat. It looks on this small resolution a little. So here you have your, like the data for your property. Then you have the jacuzzi feature with the price that you can display. And you got here the availability that we just stored, right? So that way you can just build out this this front end, then like put an ordering button on there.
That's so amazing, man.
Okay, so what else do we need?
So this covers a really important part, right? The products, and the services and amenities. But now we also want to sell anything that's in the Airbnb. So there has to be a product. Okay,
so let's just basically like a catalog, like of all kinds of stuff that you sell inside of that house. Okay, so does that have like any categories or?
So sure. So it dives into consumables, furniture, like commodities, and art. Commodities being something that's not consumable, but people would still like to buy maybe because they like it. And it sometimes has a gray area into art. So we could split it up or not, that part. But the other two, they would be separate.
Okay. I'm just thinking how to structure that. So we could build our own e-commerce module, right? So that you could also reuse that in other projects. Or like if we make it specific to that real estate thing, we could also put it in this module and then like link it there. Maybe that's what we do. Well, let's just put it in one module to like keep it clean. Okay, so we need do we need like a category, like a product category?
Yes, okay. That would be ideal.
Okay, so we add a product category. Well, it probably has a name, and then let's do the slug again. All right, for the URLs, and that way it's like all the data already to like generate URLs and like query those products. And we can add like a description, etc. Right, so you can extend that here. Input type markdown. I guess, and then we have the product. I mean, modeling the product, it can be like really simple, like one-off products, like just name, price, whatever. But it can also get like really complex if you want to do like up to like bundles or like configurable or amounts and this type of stuff. So like,
let's probably start with just the one-off. That's probably all we would need.
Okay.
And then be able to specify the quantity. If someone wants like 5 Gatorades, they would be able to buy 5.
Yeah, I mean, what you could also do with Slicknode, just like embed your Shopify store. Right, so you can use like all the order management, inventory management, etc. from Shopify, with like all the integration and like fulfillment, etc. And then just like add this shop and then like have this in your GraphQL API. So that's what you could do, or we could model it. Like if you just want to do like one-off products and then use like different checkout engine like Stripe, also we can do that. So we can store the content for like the products in here. And
yeah, perfect. That would be perfect, because I do want to be able to be completely flexible with my front end, and I'm not very experienced with the Shopify API or what the services they provide.
Okay, I think it's like if you embed that GraphQL API, you don't really need to be a Shopify developer because like it's going to look exactly like this here. Like you can proper query like for your property, while at the same time you would have then here Shopify products, right? And then you get like a list of all the products. So
in the case of Shopify, would I need a front end that's on Shopify?
You would not. You could just display that like along with like all the other stuff, right? So you don't have to integrate the real estate stuff into Shopify because then you would have to have knowledge like how to create Shopify store, etc. But like with Slicknode, you can just take the data from like this Shopify storefront and like use that alongside all the Slicknode content, right? You would have here, actually might have an example here. There's a Shopify demo. So here, let me show you what this looks like. Just loading up here. So here you would have then Shopify products, right? So like first 10, vendor title. I don't exactly know what is in that store that I used here. And then you can have at the same time here the currently logged in user, right? The username, first name, right? So you have like your Shopify data through the GraphQL API alongside here would be then your real estate flat, right? And then you run this query and then it gives you here, it's like a Slicknode demo, I created a t-shirt. So this is coming straight from the Shopify API. And then you would have here, do they have like availability or what's in here? I don't really know the Shopify API, but I can see here with like the GraphQL introspection. So I can see then, what do they have here? Total inventory, right? Yeah, there's the data not being returned. Or online store URL, you could just create like it doesn't have a URL, but you could just link to the Shopify store.
Yeah, sure.
And they must have somewhere. I mean, this is something we could do, but you'd have to get like an authentication token to add this. Not sure if you want to do this now or we can add that afterwards. So then we have your Shopify store, or we can model it here real quick if you want. Let's see here. Right, maybe let's just add like the product here to model it here, and then you can decide later if you just like throw it out and use the Shopify store, or if you use that what I add here, right?
Yeah, sure. That seemed really interesting what you were showing me.
Okay, so here let's say we add the product, and has also a name, type string, then the slug again. And then we can add like any number of fields here for describing whatever it is here. So see, we would have this. And then maybe we could even add like some rich text here, and also to have content blocks like a gallery and like a customer review. So now we have, or that product probably has a category. Product category. Okay, and then we'd have to see like if this product is available at a certain location, right? Or is every product only available at a certain? Or I guess we could add like a little bit of inventory management. Let's say here, let's add product inventory. And we have then one inventory per property, right? Because you can have like the same soap like in one place, but also at another, right? So we create a relation here, property, real estate property, and then the product. And a quantity. integer. Or let's make it decimal, depending on what you have there. And you're flexible. You can also have like half a watermelon or whatever.
Like half a watermelon, 50 cents.
For example, yeah. So that would be the inventory here. What else do we need?
So for the product, for the inventory, I'm not sure. I think it would be good, right? I think that would be good. In terms of the product, maybe we'd want a picture.
Picture. Okay, what's an image? Image. All right, optional. Okay, done. What else?
Oh wait, so when it's non-optional, it requires an exclamation point. But when
Exactly.
Yeah,
so you can indicate like which fields are required. So let's say we always require a name and a slug so that you can like access it via URL. And then it's like, oh, image is optional, or it's like, oh, it's required, right? So can configure this.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I guess next would be the guests.
The guest, so like a customer.
Sure. So someone who might be staying at the Airbnb.
Okay, so we add a customer. Or what are they called? Like name, and they can put like first name, last name. Or could also be company, right?
Yeah.
And then, okay, so we got the customer. What else did they have?
So a customer would have, yeah, you have the ID, the name. They might have the date that they come into the property and the date that they come out. They would have also an account balance. So we could track how much a customer spent. And maybe through their IDs, we would be able to get a better idea of whether, this certain type of person spends a little more than another one.
Okay, but I would put that in a different, a separate field then, because one customer could potentially have multiple bookings when they come back like several times. Sure. And then each visit would be like one database entry, right? So I'd probably put this in a booking, something like this here, real estate booking. And then we say they might also go to like different properties. So like say customer, and we have the real estate customer, and it goes, they go to a certain property, real estate property. And then we say start date time, end date time. So we can indicate their stay. And then maybe we do like a status where they say like, oh, here they've booked it and then confirmed or payment pending, etc. Right? So we can create an enum. Real estate booking status. And what status do we have? Maybe like new. Payment pending, depending on what kind of booking flow. And then confirmed, canceled.
Completed, maybe like completed like after they leave.
Now you would kind of have that information already like when the stay ended. You can always add more, like as you integrate the business logic, like add a new status if you need one, right? So let's just leave this here for now. And then we add this status to the booking. Real estate booking status. It's also required. And what else do we need?
Would we integrate the account balance into that booking? Or would you think that's better placed somewhere else?
Yeah, it's kind of information you could probably derive from, maybe we add this to the booking, to each booking here, like the amount would be decimal. Decimal. So you would have like an amount per booking. And then you could query for like all the confirmed or I mean like a complete status. Then you could query for like all the bookings that are complete for a particular customer or for a particular property. And you can see like, oh, what's the revenue on that property? Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we have a booking status. What else?
Okay, so we have finished almost everything. Almost everything is done. It's been what? Couple minutes, man?
Yeah.
Everything's almost done. This is incredible. The only thing we would need now is the rooms, because some Airbnbs will be booked room by room, and we want a way to relate the users or the customers to the rooms in which they're staying in.
Okay, so it would almost be like you have a property which has like multiple sub units. So kind of like a property group would be like that entire hotel complex or whatever it is. And each room would be its own property then, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good way of looking at it. Yeah. Yeah. So do you feel like, I feel like maybe if we went and tried to modify this instead of creating a property group, we would have to redo everything. So what's your technique?
I mean, what I would do is like we could create a property group and leave everything as is, and then we just create the assignment. Say like here, oh, this property has a group which it belongs to.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Right. So we just go here, real estate property group. Because then you also have like the availability and the features. They might be different per room. Like one room has like a bathroom, the other one has like a shared, etc. Right? And then we can leave everything as is. So we just call this name string. Then we probably want to use the property group as the displayed page in the front end, then, right? And
Sure.
then you have like a list of all the rooms. So we have a slug here of type string. That would be unique. And then here we would assign those here to the group. It's like each property can have one group. Property group. And that way we have a relation. We have like this this house which can have multiple rooms, and then each property. We might want to rename this here then. Do we name this room or like bookable housing? Naming is hard.
Maybe unit.
Unit is good. And then we name this property here. I'm gonna name this unit. And then this is going to be the property then. And then this we probably want to rename the properties to unit. Let me see. There's a lot of refactoring here. I mean, the data is going to be gone then, but it doesn't matter since we don't have anything in here yet. So we have then the property name slug, and then here, let me search for this here. Would be unit. Let me see if I messed something up here. So now we have, this needs to be uppercase, and this would be then real estate property. And then we have a unit that belongs to a property. So let's see. Now we have a fix the. Okay, there was a lot of refactoring. Let's see if it lets us deploy this. So we have a property, then we have a unit, which belongs to a property. That could be then a room or other stuff. And let's deploy. Yeah, unknown type. So now it does the validation. Where do we have the unit group? Oh yeah, that would be, we don't need this anymore. This is the property now. Okay, let's try this again. Property feature. Oh, it's a, yeah, I need to change. Where is this?
I think it's from when we deployed it previously. Now it's like trying to see like, okay, what are we talking about here? Where's this type at now? From the stuff that we created when we were testing.
Oh no, wait, this is the permissions for that type. So we have Slicknode creates permission documents, like where we can configure the access. So for example, here for the property, it's like everyone can read it, but only staff users can create, update, delete, etc. Wow. And it has this document in here for the property feature, and it says like, oh, there are permissions for a type that don't exist anymore. So it complains. So it validates the entire code base. So now all we have to do is remove the permissions here for those types that don't exist anymore. So we have the property feature. This needs to be gone. Do we have anything else? Let's just run the validation here for us. Okay, warning, data will be lost. Okay, we don't have anything in there. So like deploy. Okay, please check your changes for DB. That's because we already have data in there that has like foreign key constraints. So now what we can do is just, we ran the wrong project. Let's go to the real estate platform. Let's just remove this stuff here. Just remove that property. Okay, so this is gone. It's all gone. Let's try again. Oh, I didn't confirm this. Ta-da. Yeah, quite a bit of refactoring, but now we have a property unit. And now let's look back in our browser. If we do a refresh. So now we have a bunch, like all our types here. And then we can create our property. Let's say for a North Lamar complex. We create the complex, and then we can create the units here. Let's say we have a flat. It's like here, North Lamar flat, huge. Like it belongs to that complex here. And we save this, and then we can create all our services, products, amenities, bookings, etc.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's it. A little bit of refactoring, but yeah, now we have a structure that supports like properties with multiple bookable rooms and services.
Ivo, this is gonna change everything.
I hope so. I hope so. It's definitely a lot of fun to work with because it's just so fast. You can just take your idea, put it into code, deploy it, and then you can build your front end with whatever technology you want. Right?
It's incredible.
Okay. What else do we need?
Man, I guess the only thing left would be to do the business logic. It'd be like, it's very, very like, okay, so when you want to book or reserve something, you just check date and then have like some like how you made the enum, just have like some random Like be like confirmed, yes. So then it says like, okay, if confirmed, yes. And we'll work on that once we have the integration from Stripe or like these kinds of integrations to actually confirm it. But in terms of the data, dude, this is done. This is wizardry, Ivo. This is wizardry. This is wizardry, man.
Yeah. So this is, you have like the base structure ready, like what you would do now. Like the next step is define the business logic, like the flows. You have a booking flow, and what you can do then. Let's say you have a book unit thing. Like you want a book unit. You have that process where you want the customer to be able to book this, right? What you can do then is you define a mutation, a custom mutation. So like here, let's call this book unit. Right, and then you can say like here unit ID, you define like the input values, and then here for the payload you can say was that successful, boolean, and then you have like a mutation field, and for this mutation field you write like a single JavaScript function where you can implement that logic then, and you can use like all the logic, so like you create a new booking or like mark something as booked or not, etc.
Wow.
And so yeah, then you can use all your tools. So like here for this book unit, you would then probably go to, here we don't need those permissions. Here you could create a resolver for like here, mutation, like book unit JS, or you can use TypeScript and compile it to JavaScript. It's like module exports and then just write your JavaScript logic here. Right, you get like an event here, which has then the input values. And then here you can turn this into an async function and then do all kinds of stuff, right? You can call back to the Slicknode API, create that database entry. So you only need like this little bit of code here for like every piece of business logic that you implement.
That's so incredible, Ivo.
Well, thank you.
Man, yeah. God bless you, man. God bless you. Literally, I'm just happy I got to meet you and work with you a little bit before you became Bill Gates, okay? In 10 years, everyone's going to be using this stuff.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm working on it. I'm also about to release the thing that makes it a lot more accessible, where it's not a hosted platform anymore. And you can like host it yourself, right? Also on your local machine, etc. But yeah, with the hosted solution, it's definitely the easiest because you just run Slicknode deploy, and now your backend is done. It's live here, like it's online. You can query it, you can use it, you can develop your front end. I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push this code on GitHub into GitHub repository, and then post the link in the video description. So like if you're watching this here, you can also take a peek into this code here, use it for yourself, and yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your idea, and I'm looking forward to see what the end result is going to be like with the front end and the integrations, etc. And yeah, I'm super excited.
Thank you, Ivo, for being so generous with your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course, you're welcome.